Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to the first of two sessions hosted jointly by the Donkey Sanctuary and Wardle's Welfare and illustrating the critical relationship between working animals and water. This relationship is often hidden in plain sight. It's visible in photographs and video footage showing horses, mules, and donkeys carrying panniers or pulling carts to supply this vital resource, but it's only beginning to be included in the wider discussion. In today's session, we will introduce ways in which working animals contribute within communities, not only as an integral mode of transport, but also as facilitators of income generation, adaptation to the challenges of climate change, and in general social resilience. We begin with a short film illustrating these ways.
Collection of fresh, clean water forms a significant part of daily life for many communities worldwide, ensuring supply for both agricultural and household use. Working animals support community resilience, well-being, water access, and water security. They offer a lifeline to remote communities, often across otherwise inaccessible terrain. In this video, we introduce the important relationship between water, working animals, and the people who are dependent on them. Today, the challenges of water availability and climate change affect both humans and animals alike, but across the world, working animals are playing a key role in the distribution of water.
Hago cualquier cosa, yo vendo agua a muchas personas porque aquí es escasa el agua. Yo me sustento porque llevo el sustento a mi casa.
Working animals are often the primary transport for communities to collect water for cooking and hygiene. They can offer the advantage of a reduced time and labour for people, collecting larger volumes of water more quickly. They are often more affordable or better suited to certain types of terrain compared to mechanical vehicles. Working animals support practical household needs and livelihoods, offering opportunities for additional income. In some communities, working animals are empowering women to create a source of income and to reduce their time spent collecting water. Working animals are also still widely used to support agricultural production. The existence of many families around the world is supported by their working animals.
Yo pues tengo el negocio que mi familia, mantengo mi familia, he tenido 3 caballos y pues no, con esto me gano la vida, mantengo mi familia, le vendo agua a las demás personas, ¿verdad? Y para nuestro hogar también.
Working animals are a key part of lives and livelihoods. They can be a tool to build resilience and aid adaptation. But in times of crisis, the loss of working animals, through poor health or compromised welfare, can be extremely detrimental to the health of the households who rely on them. The relationship between human welfare, animal welfare, and water is interlinked. Animal charities recognise the vital partnership of working animals and the families that depend on them for accessing water and other essential resources. In recognition of this, we are looking to engage with water stakeholders to highlight the critical role working animals play in supporting community livelihoods. The establishment of inclusive policy is essential to ensure that, with their welfare needs at the forefront, working animals can fulfill the vital task of providing water to communities.
We are now going to continue our journey into discovering how working animals help build resilience and deliver for sustainable development with a chat with Daniela Rodriguez. Danilo, thank you for joining us for this session. First of all,
Thank you.
please shortly introduce yourself.
Well, my name is Daniela Rodriguez. I'm the regional coordinator for Haiti, Mexico, and the Cuba projects. And I support the local teams in implementing equine welfare projects. I'm helping them with the implementation of the projects, with the delivery of the impact indicators, and also to establish how we can continue to support the communities and the working equines that are working in the country.
Thank you. We previously touched on the role of working animals through the videos that we've seen before, the role working animals play within the climate change dialogue and development. But now I would like to ask you, how do working animals help these communities you work with adapt to the challenges of resource security and climate change specifically?
Well, they help in a lot of ways. The first of all is resource availability. I think it is key for them to access water, to access soil conditions, to access areas where they can gather firewood, and these are resources that can be accessed only through the support of working equines because of the conditions of the environment, because of the conditions of the topography of the areas where they work in, or the conditions of their social and economic variables. Also, they support quite a bit because they are a low-cost transport alternative, and it's something that they don't have to worry about. And they can rely on those working equines. That's one of the key things that working equines provide is a reliable way of transporting, of supporting those communities. They know that they can depend on working equines to continue to access those needed resources that they need to have for their agriculture systems and also for the livelihood systems. And also they support in terms of the use of byproducts. I think that's something that most people don't know, or they know they are not aware of, that working equines also have a lot of byproducts. For example, their equine feces, they can be used for agriculture as well. Working equines can be part of a sustainable agriculture system where nothing gets thrown out, and it can be used sustainable to continue helping the communities and to raise livestock and to produce crops.
Thank you, Danilo. That's very interesting. So you mentioned transportation and also byproducts. Could you please provide some additional example of the roles working animals play in resilient responses and any other relevant issues that you can think of?
Well, in terms of resilient responses, for example, I have two examples that are very specific. For example, the volcano eruption that we had in Guatemala in 2017. Actually, working equines were in the forefront of getting the support needed to the communities that were affected by the ash. I mean, you couldn't have cars, you couldn't have pickup trucks going out there because of all the ash, and the only way to transport much needed resources was with equines. So that's one way that they can support communities and build up upon their resilience. Also, you have earthquake responses, for example, in Haiti. Just last week, yesterday, a couple of days ago, they have an earthquake also in Haiti, and equines, donkeys, horses, mules have been used to gather resources and to transport them to the communities in need. So these are ways of that equines can be part of that resilient responses, can be part of that resiliency framework that the communities that live in these areas need, because you have a lot of natural disasters. You have earthquakes, you have volcanoes, you have flooding, and the only way to move resources or to continue communicating with the rest of the world is with working equines. So they are an integral part of a resilient response of that resiliency framework that the communities need to be able to live in these areas that are so hard hit by these natural disasters. You have to use natural resources. You have to access the water, access food, and imagine trying to get water in an emergency situation, for example, in an earthquake situation where you are not going to have people or roads going into communities, for example. You're not going to have the availability of water, for example, if you don't have a road connecting to your communities. And if you don't have a working equine, I mean, you're not going to access the well that is 5 miles or 10 miles away. So I mean, you have to have an equine, and that's why people are so keen on it. And we see that for example in Haiti, that they have so few resources, but still try to manage their equine the best as possible.
Absolutely, thank you very much. These two examples are incredibly important, quite powerful, I would say, and because they illustrate beautifully how working animals help communities that are facing urgent issues like an earthquake and volcano explosions. So given what you've just explained, how would you describe the impact that losing or not having at all working animals may have on communities that rely on them?
Oh, it's devastating. It's not having a working equine means not providing food to your family. I mean, that's as simple as that, or not providing water to your family. It's as simple as that. I mean, these are communities where we work in, where you have a well, maybe it's 5 miles from your home, 10 miles from your home, and the only way that you can transport that water is through the back of a working equine. So not having a working equine available to the families is a devastating consequence, and it's something that people understand, and that's why they care of their equines, and they worry what happened to them, and within their resources availability and with their knowledge, they try to take care of them as best as possible. Because of that lack of knowledge or lack of resources, they not always do the best job. But that's where we get in, and we tell them how to do it better. We give them that support framework, because losing an equine, I mean, it's not just the economic impact, but it's the way of that they can live in the areas where they are living. These are areas that are very mountainous. You don't have a lot of natural resources, and you need a reliable way to access them. And equines give them that opportunity. And if you don't have any equines, basically, you cannot live in the areas where they are.
Wow, thank you very much, Danilo. Right from the beginning, when you mentioned food and water, that's quite a sign on how working animals are important and crucial and essential, actually, for the people who live, as you said, in areas like mountain areas where there's a scarcity of resources. And so, in your view, so what resources and solutions could be best placed to support working animals and obviously the people and the communities who depend on them?
Well, I think, what are the solutions that we can provide them? I think the first thing is to provide them with a support framework, with a locally trusted support framework where they can have people that know how to treat equines, that can provide services such as farry, such as salary, that they can provide them with good quality, with affordable services, and that's one of the first things that you have to provide to them. I mean, I think these are people that are interested in their well-being of their equines. They just need that support framework where they can rely upon people that can help them if their equines is sick, or he has a disease, or he has a problem with their hooves, or do you have a problem with your pack saddle. So they have that support framework, that locally trusted support framework, where they are not left, to their own devices to try to to manage their accounts. But they have this community support framework where they can rely upon. I think that's one of the solutions. I think that's one of the most important solutions that you can provide to the working equines, and also working closely with local stakeholders. I mean, I think community leaders, I think local community organizations are very important to raise awareness and to give more support, not just organizational support, but also financial support to this service providers, so they can continue providing these key services to the working equines and to the owners that depend on them.
Thank you, Danilo. Thank you. Probably you listed the most important resources and solutions that are actually there to be implemented to support people, communities, and working animals. A fully functional framework and cooperation, collaboration with stakeholders, locally, as you said, but also probably nationally and regionally, and so on. I would like to conclude with one final question. In your opinion, what could be done in the future to keep supporting working animals and, again, the people who rely heavily on them?
Well, I think the work is big, and we cannot do it all on our own. There are a lot of people that are interested in providing good welfare to working equines, and I think we need to put them in the limelight. We need to put them in the forefront, the working equines. We need to show society at large, because I think one of the main difficulties that we have is that there is a disconnect between the government authorities or the civil society or the society in general, in terms of how their food or how their natural resources are being used. And so there's a disconnect between the rural and the urban areas of the economy, and the working equines play a base role, a very important role, a foundational role in terms of accessing natural resources and using natural resources. And a lot of people don't understand that. So that's why you need to put that in the forefront. You need to tell them how working equines support sustainable use of resources, how they are so important in terms of the social and economic conditions of rural communities, and they are part of the development framework of a country. You cannot have development in the country if you are leaving your rural communities outside, or you live in your peri-urban communities outside. So that's why you need to put working equines in the forefront, the work that they do, and the importance that they have in terms of the development of this society. So that's one of the things that you have to do.
Danilo, thank you again for your invaluable contribution. Speak to you soon. In conclusion, we've seen how working animals not only hold innate value, but also provide considerable support to the people who rely on them by generating income, collecting vital resources, empowering women and offering means of adaptation in the face of climate-related challenges. By bringing working animal welfare into cross-sectoral dialogue, we move a step closer to generating holistic planning, policies and programming that can enable simple intervention to have significant impact. If you'd like to know more about the relationship between water, working animals and the communities they support, join us for our interactive session on Wednesday, entitled Often Visible, Rarely Seen, Working Animals and Water Resilience, or contact our colleagues attending the conference through Pathable's chat and networking functions. In addition, if you would be keen to participate in further discussion about the role of working animals within sustainable development, we invite you to join the Working Animal Alliance, which is an informal group of stakeholders seeking to promote the role of working animals in delivering sustainable development and to expand the global dialogue for the mutual benefit of both humans and animals. Thank you.